A summary and analysis of the December 16th, 2025 Columbus, Georgia City Council meeting. There were four main topics of discussion: the end of year budgeting and fiscal year 2026 forecasting, real estate rezoning proposals, a strong tug of war over the Columbus Airport ownership and its future, and finally the salaries of public elected officials in the Columbus consolidated government. The budget picture is basically very strong due to prudent planning and three-year budget cycles. We have at least an 87-day reserve, meaning that we could, in case of emergency, fund our operations for at least 87 days without having to find some other source of funding. We are positive to budget and spending, meaning that our budget actual versus spending has been within acceptable limits. Public safety has been a little over, but that is to be expected and is, again, within limits. There are a couple of sobering statistics, at least. One, that we are spending just on servicing the debt on the Columbus ballpark alone, $4.1 million in fiscal 2026, and that we spend far less than 1%, almost 0% of our budget on public transportation, which is probably woefully inadequate for a city of our size. We see with rezoning that there's a constant struggle between the public good and private gain. And we saw that in the discussion of Charleston Place, where the developer wanted to add at least 100 units in an already overstrained neighborhood and compounding likely traffic problems there. That issue was postponed due to a deadlock until probably the January 2026 meeting. And again, we'll see that struggle play out not just in this particular rezoning, but in future rezonings. It takes real judgment and balancing of interests and trying to make sure it's more of a win-win than a win-lose in those kinds of rezoning discussions. There was a very detailed presentation about the state of the Columbus Airport by its director, Amber Clark, many positive developments, and a proposal to spend about $13 to $14 million, most of it coming from federal and other grants, on a new general aviation building, which hasn't been updated since the 1990s. However, after that presentation, there was a very tense discussion led by Councilor Davis over who actually owns the Columbus Airport, and the short answer is a 5-member board that was established in 1968 through state government, and they and the city clashed over again that ownership, so that there possibly will be further developments in 2026, maybe even a referendum on the November 2026 ballot about whether citizens want to petition the state to take over airport operations. So stay tuned for further analysis on that. And then finally, there was unfortunately a lot of grandstanding over city salaries and other matters. We did find out that the councilors are part-time, and we knew that. So we really don't have a weak mayor system as was asserted at the meeting. We have more of a strong mayor who's a full-time employee, and we have part-time councilors. This grandstanding continued with some strong statements made against the mayor and others about the public search for the new city manager. And after a lengthy statement by Councilor John Anker, the mayor replied with the following.
Nope, and we've been through this. Mr. Anker, you're the most reckless individual I think I've ever met. I worry about the people of this community. Certainly we have some challenges, and I've been involved in some of those, but I've never met anybody as arrogant as you who makes this about themselves. You don't know the process because you were a hired gun. You came in here for one reason. You did it. You got rid of the city manager. You don't know how to hire people. All you know how to do is fire people.
I heard you say that last time.
How did you say that last time?
Sir?
We're not going to listen to anymore. You've had your time, and I respected your time. I had to sit here and listen to you just spout lies because you have a perspective that is not realistic. And now I try to answer you, and you're going to cut me off. It's another example of the arrogance and the rudeness that you bring to the table. I tried to warn council when they were putting you on there. I watched it for a number of months as you exhibited these traits. I'm not gonna sacrifice quality for speed for putting in here. And by the way, one of the reasons that we're struggling to try to get people is because of what happened to the previous city manager, a retired individual that then got fired the minute you got on council. Because your quote was, when I asked you if you were going to fire, you'd vote to fire him, you said, shoot, I'll make the nomination if they let me. So a lot of this falls at your feet, sir, not mine. And we're through with this discussion, but there'll be more because you will continue to show the people of this community who you are. Now,
unfortunately, that's the tenor of what occurs, and the citizens of Columbus deserve better. They need to have city officials and councilors that are focused solely on the public good, on evaluating public policy in terms of pros and cons, and making the best choices for the citizens of Columbus, Georgia, and not their own political futures. So please stay tuned for further posts, and hope you have a great holiday.